guys, and welcome to episode 1 of the BurgerBash podcast. So this is going to be a series called Burgers with Bash, where I interview local people that are well known and ask them a lot of interesting questions, and hopefully I get some interesting responses. Well, the main guy I've got here today is a guy called Mushtaq, aka Turks.
Hello, assalamu alaikum everybody.
So a lot of you guys will probably already know who this guy is, but just for context, this guy's a local legend. He's been around Nelson for a long time. I think he's born and bred here. He's got a bit of Kashmiri blood in him as well. I must say he's a bit dark for a Kashmiri. Off the record.
I've heard that before. I'll let you off. It's true.
No, that's fine. So the format's basically going to be, I've got a list of questions I'm already going to ask him, and then we're going to let a bit of conversation flow. We've got two hench guys behind the camera that are going to fill in a few questions for us as well. So just to begin with, the one question that everybody wants to know, Tex.
Fire away.
All of us wants to know, why do you still support Arsenal?
I wasn't expecting that for my first question, but I'll answer it. I support Arsenal because, for me, I've still not got over the Invincibles team. I like the way they play football. I was a big fan of Arsene Wenger. They're the neutrals' favourite. We don't cheat like City do. We don't dive like Liverpool players do. And that's why I'm an Arsenal fan, because I enjoy quality football with quality players.
Living off past glory, bro. That's what it is, man. Past glory.
Still living in the past a little bit, but we'll bring the glory days back. You know, Arteta's in, got some new players. So looking good, Bash.
Right. Well, now we started lightly, but now we're going to go a little bit heavy now. And it's got one question. It's quite close to your heart, and it is actually a serious question as well.
Okay.
So one of the reasons I want to bring you on here is a couple of years ago, your son was actually really, really ill. He had a serious problem with his liver, and you actually donated a portion of your liver for him. And I just wanted to share that with people, just to say that this is something that a lot of operate, but they don't do it in terms of donating organs, or even generally having those kind of operations. They're a bit too scared and paranoid. But just from the start point, just tell us like what happened from when your son was born, and the kind of story behind it, and how you found out, and then what decisions you had to make, and just right from the start up.
Yeah, of course, Bash. Like you said already, a lot of people do know that story already. Possibly the toughest time of my life, and I've been through some tough times. It could be jobs, it could be this, that and the other, ups and downs in general, growing up, all the rest of it. It was the toughest, most emotional episode in my life, full stop. Allah gave me a son after 3 beautiful daughters, I must add. And any son is precious anyway, but so daughters. But obviously in the Asian community,
I need to jump in here and just remind you that Tariq is married. Sorry.
Yeah, I am married. Yeah, he was born with an undiagnosed liver disease. About 7 weeks in, we noticed something was wrong. Got him checked at the local hospital. Went to Burnley at that time.
What were the symptoms you saw? Was it like skin discoloration? Or?
Yellow eyes, which I know now is a dead giveaway for jaundice and liver disease. Apparently, if anything is wrong with the liver, one of the first signs is that you have yellow eyes, and I mean like deep yellow.
Yeah.
Yellow eyes, uncomfortable, crying, kicking his legs a lot, and just not settling like a newborn baby should. They could have their ups and downs, obviously, but he just weren't settling. So we took him over to Burnley General Hospital at 7 weeks old.
Yeah.
I thought it would just be a routine, if I'm being honest with you. We prayed inside. We just went to the appointment. I remember going to that appointment. I remember being happy, and I remember thinking
routine.
I remember thinking it was routine, and these doctors will sort something out, and I'll be home at 10 o'clock. And unfortunately for us, when doctor after doctor kept coming into Burnley, I knew that there was something wrong, but they weren't saying quite what. And all they said to us is that they said, your son needs to go to Leeds straight away. So obviously the wife was with me as well. And I'm trying to make sure that she's okay. That's obviously one of the priorities, as well as the son, is making sure that she's okay. So I said to her, he'll be fine. They're just going to take him to Leeds, get him checked. So you're coming out with all these sportive words. The truth is, inside I was pretty upset. But you can't show it at the time, whatever, So I said, no problem. I said, I'll take him to Leeds. We've got a car. We're going to wrap him up. They said, no, you're not understanding. He's going to Leeds now, and he's going in an ambulance. So at 7 weeks old, they took us, all 3 of us, to Leeds Hospital in an ambulance. And they did the tests and everything. And they kept him there. So for the first couple of years of his life, there was a lot of tests going on, blood test after blood test, scans, blood tests, all sorts.
So
and they were trying to find out what was wrong with him.
So at this point, did they like have any indication, or was it just a case of we just got to go with it?
At this point, they knew that his liver was severely damaged, and they knew there was something wrong with him. They also knew it was quite severe, but they didn't actually have a root cause as such. We only got the root cause about a year and a half in, and about a year and a half to 2 years in, and that's when we were sat obviously around the bedside as you do. There's not much to do in a hospital anyway, apart from sit around and wait, and you just eat and pray really.
And get charged for TV as well.
And get charged for TV, which is a real shame, but that's a different subject. And one of the doctors came to us and he said, I'm really sorry, the situation's serious, and he needs a transplant. So when we first heard that word, I can tell you now, of all the words I've ever heard, that word has an effect on you like no other.
Yeah.
It's never been done in my family before. There's been lots of illnesses. The word transplant, I still thought it was not a joke, but I still thought maybe it was something. It was a dream. He's gonna tell me that he doesn't need one eventually.
Yeah.
But it never happened. It never happened back.
So by this point, how old is he?
He's about 2 years old.
Right.
Just
so
short of 2 years old. Ongoing, non-stop.
So then, at what point did you know that your liver would be like 100% match? Like, was it on the cards from the get-go? Or?
No, well, when they said transplant, they said we have a transplant waiting list and things, and they said we'll see what happens. So they put him on a waiting list, but I just felt as though he was getting worse. And I'm looking at my own son there in front of me, and I'm thinking he's getting worse. I've not seen any improvements. He's crying day by day by day. So after about a week or 3 weeks max of being on the transplant waiting list, I asked him about live liver donation. I asked him if there was a way that I could donate.
Yeah.
So that's how that came about. It was something that I asked for because I thought he's getting worse, and you never know with life. And being on a transplant list can be 3 weeks to 3 years.
Yeah.
And we just couldn't wait that long. The doctors knew it as well. So we took the plunge bash.
Yeah. So when you did do the donation of your liver, was it a case of they knew exactly how much? It was like 20%, wasn't it?
They took 20% of the left lobe of my liver, and obviously my son, because he was a baby, they took out his full liver. So his was 100% taken out and replaced with an approximate 20% of mine. And interestingly, just a very, very quick little story there. When I went for the scans and things to make sure my liver was healthy, and this is an absolute true story, it can still bring tears to my eyes if I'm not careful. The surgeon and stuff who did, they were doing the scans and everything, he said to me, for some reason, you do have an abnormally large liver. So, I mean, you can take from that what you want.
Yeah,
if you're into science, you're into them. If you're not, you're not. But for them to say to me, just whilst I was about to donate liver at my age, that you have an abnormally large liver for some reason, there's only one way I can look at that.
Yeah,
and that's to look up there and be thankful to the Lord. That's it.
Yeah. So then, as just for the benefit of the people listening and watching, the operation smooth.
Operation went very well. Long operation, tough operation. 12 hours operation for my son,
right,
and approximately 6.5 hours for me in a different hospital. So we were kept separate. They took obviously a piece of my liver out, transported it across Leeds in a special little bag or whatever it is they have.
Deliveroo,
or whatever it is, or just liver, something like that. And then they did the transplant there. I was actually on my own over in my hospital because I wanted my family, whoever was there, to be with my son rather than me. I'm oldest, so Yeah.
So I take it local helper, Rocky X was very supportive, was it?
Everybody was. It's not just Rocky X. He did everything he could on visiting, coming up, asking if my family needed everything. But to this day, there is people, names, too many to mention on here on camera, that you don't say often, and you shouldn't do, but I will never forget who was around for me at that time. And that's not a disrespect to anybody that wasn't. It's just that there's a lot of people that did a lot for us back then, and for them people I'll always be grateful. Rocky X is one of them. Rocky X's brothers are some of them, because they came to visit me. They took the time out. They came to visit me at St. James. You never, by the way, but I'll forgive you.
Shut
But these people took time out and came to visit me when I was ill. And it's something that you always remember because you do need visitors. When you're cut open, you do need visitors.
So what was recovery time like then?
Recovery time, I mean, I'm not one to put anybody off liver donation. It's the best thing I've ever done. It's the most amazing, complete feeling I'll ever have doing anything, Bash. They don't quite tell you exactly what it entails afterwards, for quite rightfully, because I think if they told people the truth, how much pain you'd be in and what actually happens and what you feel, I don't think anybody would go through with it. That's the honest truth.
So is that when you need an express line to the Tamazis?
That's when I need an express line to morphine. Even that weren't taking the edge off. The pain is incredible. Because what you have to remember is on a liver donation, they've literally cut me and I've still got the scars. They've literally cut me from about here chest-wise, just above the belly button.
Yeah,
there's no pain like being cut with cold steel and then waking up from it. But it's something I had to get through. That first night is a very lonely, tough night, Bash. I'm telling you that just, for free, that I don't know how I got through it. I remember
because your family were.
I had nobody with me. Yeah, the first night when I came out, I was in intensive care, the high intensity unit, being monitored 24/7. There was nobody with me, no family, nobody. And I'm telling you, it was a very tough night. I remember praying a lot. I remember just constantly repeating the kalma. It's difficult when you're on that amount of painkillers as well, but I do remember just constantly reading the kalma just to get through that night. It was a very tough night, Bash.
Wow, it's actually quite a difficult story because then you had to then do the rehab and you couldn't play footy for a while either because you couldn't do much, could you?
No sport. It was difficult to read namaz. It was difficult to bend down. I was off work. I was recovering. Obviously, my mind is now turned to my son. Yeah. He's recovering in a different hospital. I'm trying to get updates about how he's doing. I've got family visiting me, visiting him. So it was just tough times, Bash, all around. But we never gave up. Never for 1 second gave up.
Well, mashallah. I hope that doesn't put people off ever donating.
No, it shouldn't.
This is a success story as far as I'm concerned.
Absolute success story. And if you look at him now, and many of you have seen my son, and obviously many of the viewers here will have seen me possibly out with my son doing things. SubhanAllah, all I can say is it's an absolute miracle. It's one that we'll never forget. It's one that we'll forever be grateful for. And that's the main thing here. It's about being grateful. Yeah. You just can't forget something like that, Bash. Every second he's awake and I'm awake, we always have that in mind. It's just incredible what the Lord has blessed us with. To see him now doing everything that I didn't think he might be able to do at one point. He goes to school, we went swimming yesterday, he plays football, he runs around, he's cheeky, he's naughty. SubhanAllah, I mean, you could go on, I'd probably end up in tears if it's so emotional as to what happened. Yeah. But that is life, and I know that there's many people out there with a test as well, Bash.
But Cholo, if he ever misbehaves, then you can say, hey pal.
Oh, if he misbehaves, I'm taking it back. I told him, yeah. I said, I'm that little piece back, come here, But he doesn't know yet, and they're so innocent that he has no idea that what he's been through. He doesn't know yet. I've kept a lot of newspaper clippings and stuff, articles.
Yeah, you're on Sky News.
And Sky News, of course, and things, and word got out what had happened, and I'm very grateful to everybody that heard the story and took a bit of comfort from it, The message is never give up faith. And that's all I got to say, Bash, It changes life. It changed my life a lot. Nice. It prioritised things for me in my life, yeah.
Well, mashallah, that's a good learning experience for you as well, eh?
Absolutely.
So now on to a serious topic. Once upon a time, there was a draft of a book that was circulating
I knew you were going to ask
around people's inboxes.
I knew you were going to ask
way
me
back in 2004, 5.
Yeah.
Long time ago. It's basically a book. It's like a little anthology or like a collection of stories about all the Nelson legends and gangsters and fights. Nelson legends.
Hopefully anybody that knows me, Bash, knows that I'm about two things. One, I do have an interest in writing, whether it's Facebook posts, letters, CVs, application forms, anything, books. I do have a passion for writing. Yeah, it's one of my big regrets, actually. Secondly, if you know me, you'll know that I've enjoyed a lot of different company in Nelson over the years. I've met some good lads, some not so good. I've met, and chilled with and been good with and been on friendly terms with and been best friends with a lot of people. So yeah, it's true about, you're going back some now. maybe about 10 years or so. I was going to do a book, and I did actually start a book called Nelson Legends Volume 1. Never finished it, didn't really get it off the ground, and it was just a bit of a tribute, a bit of fun, a little bit of a tribute to some of the boys that I've met.
Yeah.
And, you know, and, you know, so yes, the book would have been about like 20 or so of the main characters that I've been around and met. And you have to remember that I've sat with, chilled with, been hit off probably most of, you know, Nelson's so-called, whoever was top at the time. There's always been a tough guy in Nelson. He's famous for it. And I thought it was something that people want to read, and then I was going to put like some other stuff in it, like some stories, some anecdotes about my life, other people's life. And I think it would have been good, but it never got off the ground for whatever reason, unfortunately, Bash.
It's alright, we've got a draft. #Crossroad Punch.
Yeah, I think anybody that read it quite enjoyed it, and maybe one day if I get the time, if I ever retired in peace like my plan is, I might finish it off, Bash, you know.
I'm sure we all look forward to reading that one day if we can persuade you.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll get around to it one day, I'm sure. Yeah.
So one of my mates is thinking of setting up an off-licence. What's your stance on it?
My stance on off-licence as an alcohol is the same stance as any drug, any illegal drug or anything like that, you know, these days. I'm not going to sit here for a second and say that, you know, obviously I don't even think my beard is the right size according to some. Yeah. Having said that, I live my life by a code. For me, there's no alcohol, drugs. I try not to do anything like that. In fact, you know, so when somebody asks me about alcohol, I say each to their own. Every man makes his own choices in life. I respect their choices, whatever that may be. They'll have to live with them choices, not me. But for me personally, alcohol or anything like that, for me it's a complete no-no as per my religion, Bash. I've always been very clear on that, you know. I've made mistakes in the past, don't get me wrong. But that's where I'm at now. So I can answer that hand on heart, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I was just trying to put you on the spot.
You did. I'll get you for that.
So, next question. Who is the top dog and why? Where's this come from?
Listen, you know, Nelson's been full of top dogs. Every area has had a top dog, and if you ask everybody, they'll have a different opinion on something. There is one name that's pretty much universally agreed in this town. Certainly Nelson, perhaps even Nelson, Burnley, Briarfield. There is one name that it would be very, very difficult to argue against.
Yeah. I think we know what that name is.
Yeah, I mean, everybody would have a different opinion, but you know, the one name that if somebody ever was going to atomize and say here's the top 10 people of certainly the toughest people who've ever graced the streets of Nelson, one would have to say it would be our beloved brother Chief Shahid.
Yeah,
and I don't think you'd find many arguments against that. So you could probably go to any gangster or any tough guy you want, and I don't think you'd find many arguments against that. Anybody that knew him, was with him, fought alongside him, or unfortunately against him, you'd have to testify to the same thing. It's absolutely unique, Bash.
Yeah. I remember when we were young, that was a name that everybody knew.
It wasn't when you were young, it was when I was young as well. And
How old are you for the record?
I'm 43 years old, Bash.
So
when we were growing up, these were our elders, and they were doing things when we were just thinking we were something about 16, 17, 18 years old. They were just doing their thing, and I have to say, you know, if you ever were going to put number one, it'd have to be him.
Right. So one of the things I want to do is I'm going to have a little sign up here, and I'm going to ask every one of my guests that if you had your own burger place, restaurant, shack, hut, anything, what would your slogan be? So Turks, what would your slogan be?
Well, then, if I had a takeaway or something of my own, I'd call it "You Dirty Little Burger." And my slogan would be bigger, better and badder, and that's it.
Just like Turks.
Just like me.
And then a quick one that I want to ask you is in terms of what you've got planned for yourself in the future. I mean, you've got a steady job, you seem to be just happy in life, you've got yourself next 4x4 beast of a machine.
My plans, Bash, are pretty simple. I've got health to look after. That's myself and my son and everybody else in the family. Because going through what I did, I've realised that it's all about health. Wealth can wait, and I do have, mashallah, a steady job which I'm proud of. It's good, it's beautiful actually, it's good, it's comfortable, it gives you everything you need. Wealth cars, everything else can wait. For me, there's two priorities that I have now, Bash. That's health, and then I'm trying to get as much Dean in my life as possible. That's where I'm at in life. So that's my plans. If I can get through, if I live long enough, next 10, 15 years like that, concentrating on them two things, that'll do for me.
Yeah, cool. Well, I think that just about wraps up the questions. We've got a lot more questions we want to ask, but I think for the sake of Turks being able to get home on a school night and get to work in the morning.
I'm glad you said that, not me.
And on top of that, Liverpool won.
It's Liverpool 1, West Ham 1. Yeah. He's
half-time
hoping to a Liverpool win.
That's going for an Arsenal supporter, bloody hell. So that then, guys, that's a wrap up. Hopefully by the time you get this one and you play it back, the sound's okay. We're going to do a bit of processing on it. It's the first one, so just bear with us if you're a little bit rusty. We're using a camera phone. We're not using anything fancy except for these, and even these were quite cheap as well. So hopefully there'll be more to come. And just remember, this was filmed at Cafe Express, based in Nelson in Lancashire. These guys do some pretty meaty burgers.
Banging paninis. Get yourselves down, guys.
Yeah, man. The owner's a good friend of mine as well, and yeah, I'm sure he'll appreciate the business. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys, and have a good one.
Thank you very much.